Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Software Engineer K here, and we have some pretty interesting stuff to go through today. So we have a quick recap of the Simpsons drop that we had today. Is the first appearance of Homer Simpson with Bart, as well as Bart's skateboard. We have the upcoming drop for tomorrow, as well as Tuesday's drop revealed, which is Pixar. So we're going to be quickly going over that. And most importantly, I am going to be also going through kind of the breakdown of exactly why the drop had so many issues. I'm going to be explaining to you guys what happened. Now, before I go into that, I'm going to make it super clear. This isn't supposed to be like excuses on behalf of VeVe. This is purely to show you guys what had happened and, you know, just how to prepare for it in the future, just because these kind of things you can expect to happen more and more, and I'll explain why, just so that you guys are aware. Again, it's not supposed to be like, you know, anything more than that really. And also we're going to be going through the price of OMI for today. So first off, we have tomorrow's drop revealed, which is the Disney Golden Moments collection featuring Elsa from Frozen, as well as Mickey's hat, which is pretty cool. Now again, this is another common and rare. You do get the Disney Plus subscription with either of these, and edition sizes are exactly the same as the one that we saw today with Simpsons. Now I believe this is going to be a bit more of a popular IP than Simpsons, so you know, we've started to see some huge movement on the market. So the floor price for the Bart skateboard is about $450 right now, and the Homer Simpson is about $200. So, you know, I can expect the price for these to be slightly higher than what we see today. Maybe $500 for the Disney hat, maybe around $220 for the Elsa, but we'll see. You know, these golden moments are still finding their floor prices. Now, the Pixar is different, in the sense that, as you can see, there are actually less editions of this one. There's 10,333. However, the rare still has the same number of editions, 6,333. So for the Pixar drop, as a percent, your chance of getting the rare is actually significantly higher. That being said, I believe that, you know, the common, the Wally here, that is going to hold more value than the other two that we've seen, just because it is less editions. The Pizza Planet truck, I think, you know, I think it's going to be okay. Probably similar value to the Bart skateboard, but less than the Mickey hat for sure. I think this is probably going to be pretty much identical value to the Bart skateboard, if not slightly lower. So, you know, we've had both of these revealed. I am personally looking most forward to the Golden Iron Man. That's kind of like, you know, one of the main reasons I came to VeVe was to get, you know, an Iron Man drop, and we finally got one coming, so that's gonna be pretty exciting. Now, on the point of today's drop, so we had the Homer Simpson. Now, the market was pretty crazy. You know, you can see that here people were listing it for retail right at the start, and the floor kind of bounced up to 150, so it tripled, and then it kind of like sat around about 200, so it's about a quadruple of, you know, like what we saw around about right when the market had opened. So, you know, the best gains are always to be made when the market opens, to be honest. Like, that's where you can snipe the super low mints that people misprice. Again, it is quite hard to snipe them, but, you know, you can potentially get them. Now, on the point of the drop itself, so firstly, VeVe, they came out and they put out this statement, you know, first, thank you for your passion. Today's drop sold out quickly as expected, but it was not without issues. Here's what happened. One of our third-party providers were not scaled properly at drop time, which caused performance issues. However, the problem has been identified with the provider, and we have been assured that it has been resolved. We should see a much smoother experience tomorrow and moving forward. Again, thank you for your continued patience. We're excited to have you on the journey with us, and we will work to make sure everyone can experience collecting in the app hassle-free. If you need support, please submit a support ticket. Now, I've seen some, you know, a lot of people expressing frustration about this drop. Again, I can understand why people are frustrated. I was kind of frustrated as well, because I kind of, luckily I didn't like log out of the app. I was tempted to, but, you know, I never log out of the app anymore at drop time. Just because there's the risk of not being able to log back in. But, you know, I basically sat there getting the drop reservation screen about 10 times, and then it finally went through about, you know, it must have been like nearly 20 minutes into the drop. I finally got it to go through. So I managed to secure one, but, you know, I can see why people are annoyed. Now, in terms of why this happened, so this is what VeVe is, okay? VeVe is not an app built purely by VeVe. VeVe is a very, very genius amalgamation of several other third-party services with some of their own in-house services built on top. That's what it is. So when you see the AR VR stuff, VeVe did not create that themselves. They're using Google services to render the VR AR stuff. When you look at 2FA, they're not sat there building their own 2FA system. They're using a third-party provider. When you look at the capture system, they didn't go there and build their own capture system from scratch. They are using a third party, and they're going to continue using these third-party services, partly because they don't have the capital to go build out their own service. It's so much easier just to use a third-party service provider, and secondly, timing. It's going to take them a lot of time to build out their own service to do something, and people kind of they want things done right then and there. It only makes sense to integrate third-party services, and I completely support them on that. That's what I would do as well. However, third-party services are without their own risks. However, those same risks, given how much time you save, given how much capital you save, I would say it justifies the risk, because if you look at Netflix, yeah, it's like saying, why doesn't Netflix just build their own TVs that are super optimized for running Netflix? It's like, yeah, they could, but it's not worth the capital investment, setting up that whole supply chain pipeline for, a very slight benefit that's going to appeal to, a small subset of people. Most people can run Netflix perfectly fine on their TVs. And, even if it's not perfect, it's good enough. It doesn't justify, how much extra effort it would be on Netflix part, especially if it ends up detracting from their main development, which is, their TV shows, documentaries, etc. So basically, this is a pretty nice an article. It should summarize exactly what went wrong once you kind of understand what's happening. So creating a fully functional and feature-packed mobile app from scratch is not only challenging, but also costly and time-consuming as well. That's pretty much what we just said. To match consumers' ever-growing demands, again, just what we said, there is a huge amount of demand for things to be done in a timely manner on VeVe. Across all types of mobile apps, you need to rely on efficient third-party service integrations to create a seamless user experience for your audience. So, this goes to API development. As a software developer, API development is the main thing that I work on. So I kind of like, I can kind of understand exactly what's going on, and I prepared for it in advance because I know some of the services they rely on, which is why I always log in at least 30 minutes in advance. I make sure that I don't do any kind of risky things like resetting my password 30 minutes before a drop, just because I know that they're using a third-party service for that as well. So some of the third-party services you can expect in apps are usually payment gateways. Exactly what we have. We've got a bit app, in-app payment gateway that they're using. MTL's coming. The MTL provider is going to be another third-party service integrating. So just be aware of that. Social logins, you have like single sign-on and all of that stuff. That's all third-party. Map integrations, they have spoken about geolocation drops. Being at a certain location, maybe you might have access to a region-specific drop. Again, that's all third-party integration. Accessing mobile device function, all of that stuff. So they kind of go to how to differentiate good APIs from bad APIs. So and this is what's really, really important, right? If they are using common APIs, they will be able to transition from mobile to wearables much more easily. Okay, if they're using the Google VR SDK, and that's a common library, they can integrate that into a wearable very, very easily, just because Google APKs, Google SDKs, these are very transferable. It's if you are using your own proprietary kind of thing, like it's going to require a lot more development to migrate onto a wearable platform. So they need to be swappable, stable. Okay, this is now kind of what we had with VeVe. So the third-party API, whichever one it was that wasn't scaled properly, okay, it kind of didn't have that stability / flexibility, but they've been assured that it should be fine going forward. So another analogy is you're the best you're like the best let's say gamer in the world, right? You've got your top of the line computer, you've got your your internet is like super fast, etc. But your internet broadband is having like, you know, the cables are being replaced or something, I don't know, something that knocks out your connection, and you know you're expected to compete in a tournament, people are relying on you. It is like a random analogy, but you know, you've made everything possible to control all those variables, but you know there are some variables that are out of your control because you're relying on a third party, right? Someone could say, okay, why don't you go put in some money, set up your own broadband company, control the wires that, you know, run to your house, etc. It's like, yeah, you can do that, but it's quite unreasonable to expect that. Just as it's quite unreasonable to expect VeVe to create their own, you know, MTL service, their VeVe branded MTL service, their VeVe branded maps, their VeVe branded, you know, 2FA, VeVe branded capture service. It's just unreasonable to expect them to build everything in-house, right? They just, for speed and capital costs, they have to rely on third-party services. And that, it goes to my next point, is as VeVe develops, as they expand, you know, as they integrate, you know, geolocation, as they integrate MTL, expect them to integrate more third-party services into VeVe, not less. So expect the likelihood of one of these services, you know, having issues to affect the app on a wider scale. Expect that to potentially happen more often. It's just how it is, right? So what can you do? Well, you know, just take the necessary steps that you can, you know, log in early, do all of the granola tips and tricks, all of that stuff. And, you know, most likely if there is an issue, even if you've done all of those things, it probably still will affect you. And, you know, at the start, yeah, a lot of the issues, they were potentially due to VeVe, but now the issues are due to third-party services that VeVe is relying on. You know, they've done what they need to do to scale the servers, etc. And as they integrate more third-party services, just expect more issues. So, you know, it can't be helped. It is part of the process. As these third parties, they become more stable themselves, yeah, they will have less issues, and it's in their benefit to, you know, improve as well as VeVe to also improve. So, you know, at the end of the day, you know, pricing models, again, they are probably going for, you know, a reliable yet decently priced third-party service. You know, clearly they have, you know, good technical support because they seem to have found the issue quite fast, and they've seem to have gotten a resolution or an expected resolution quite fast as well. And again, like things like documentation, how easy it is to integrate, because at the end of the day, you know, these devs, they need to be able to respond fast, develop fast to meet, you know, consumer expectations. So the services need to be easy to integrate as well, but as well as that, being stable and cost effective. So that's pretty much what it is. Can VeVe do anything about it? Not really. But the third-party services, maybe there might be a more stable one that comes out in the future. They could swap over that, assuming they've developed the application to be, you know, fairly easy to swap between services, which I suspect they have. So, you know, we'll just wait and see. But on the price of OMI for today, now being an OMI holder, I'm always predominantly an OMI holder. That's what I am. You know, regardless of what happens with the VeVe NFTs, OMI continues to do well. And like I said, you know, we were bouncing around in this region here, this downward channel. I said if we can break and close above, which is what we did, we can expect them to push to the upside, and that's what we're getting. We are now holding steady at 0.8. And as we can see here, if we go back to the longer time frame, this trend line, we saw 1, 2, 3, 4 touches. I said the 5th touch is going to come around 1 cent, and I can see that happening. So that 1 cent range, I am pretty confident we should be hitting that this year. You know, even with the low volume we're getting now, we are still kind of holding at 0.8 cents, even after what we saw with the Disney drop. You know, OMI didn't really dump, it's still holding at 0.8 cents. So, you know, I am happy, I'm excited to see what's going to happen if we kind of go back to the larger time frame here. So, you know, back when we saw that huge pump with OMI, we saw that touch 0.13 cents. And, you know, we are kind of, I believe we are slowly going to approach that 1 cent range and then push up to 1.2, 1.3 cents very soon, Q1 of next year. But this year I am anticipating 1 cent. So pretty excited to see what's going to happen. So yeah, that's pretty much everything I want to go through with you guys today. Thanks so much for watching. Check out the OMI Homie merch in the description below. We also have a competition on the giveaway video I did a few days ago, so do check that out. And you can use my code K10 for the store link below to get a 10% discount. And as always, please do like and subscribe to support the content. I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya.